Okay, don't hate me, but I'm about to come for some of your childhood Christmas favorites. Here are my honest thoughts. Everybody swears that Home Alone is a must watch during this period, and you may be wondering why didn't I recommend it. First, let me say that the soundtrack is actually amazing, but probably that's the only thing I like about it. Let me explain. I'm not a fan of movies in which people are getting hurt and you are supposed to laugh about it. Slapstick comedy in general, but also when there's anything slimy or disgusting, that kind of really cheap comedy, I can do without. Did we watch it countless times as kids? Yes, we did, but as an adult, I hate that movie. And last year, since I was looking for something else to watch, I found A Christmas Story, which maybe I watched as a kid. I don't remember much, but it's just like Home Alone for me. It really feels wrong. How can we possibly think that this is an acceptable movie for families to watch? I don't know. It's simply not for me. And going back to Home Alone, for some reason, I would rather watch Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, I think it's called, which just like Home Alone had a couple of sequels, I believe. But the first movie, which is not taking place during Christmas, so this is why probably you don't hear about it, not in December, but it shares similar features. The comedy is not too far off, yet I remember how I felt as a kid watching it and how crazy the whole building of that set must have been. Because if you've never seen it, there are several scenes in which the kids are so teeny tiny that they had to build an entire garden section and insects, flowers, and whatnot huge so that they would fit. And that's another thing, that we no longer have these practical effects that really make a whole movie. So I guess I enjoyed that one more, despite being just as silly. But it's true that nobody gets hurt as much as the thieves in Home Alone. And the point is that I can watch the first maybe half of the movie and then I have to give up because I really cannot stand watching those scenes with the thieves in the house. It's sickening. So I get why people love it in a way, and it must be mostly nostalgia, but I would never put it at the very top of my Christmas watch list. And here's another one that everybody loves, and I don't understand why. Elf. I don't think I watched it as a kid, so this must be a huge difference because I don't have any nostalgia attached to it. But there are, I think, two different things. One is that I simply don't like the actor. Will Ferrell is never enjoyable to me, no matter the role. I know that he has done something more dramatic and some people enjoyed him more in those roles instead of comedy, but I really cannot stand him, and that's the problem. The second thing is that I feel secondhand embarrassment way too easily when I watch movies, but also when I read books. I see myself in that situation with that character and I feel so embarrassed I cannot keep going. But I do understand that if you've watched this when you were a kid and now you're showing it to your kids with the whole family, yeah, okay, it works. Maybe. I hate it. Here's one I don't think I've ever seen, but I keep hearing people talk about it, and I don't think it will ever be on my watch list. The Muppet Christmas Carol. I know you hate me already, but just like with Elf, I didn't grow up watching it, so there's no nostalgia for me. And I believe I have a problem with the Muppets. I never liked them. In general, I don't enjoy or I don't look actively for movies with puppetry. And there's one huge exception. You might have watched a recent video in which I talked about it, Labyrinth. I love Labyrinth. I don't know why in Labyrinth I'm not feeling all weird about the puppets. Maybe because they are scary compared to these ones who are supposed to be cute and you're supposed to love them. And so maybe that's why they work better. Because I'm not sure. I actually don't know why. Because if I think of Labyrinth, another one that comes to mind is Dark Crystal, in which puppets are even scarier. And I didn't love that one as much as Labyrinth. So I don't know. That one was also entirely made of puppets. So the whole cast was made of puppets, whereas both Labyrinth and the Muppet Christmas Carol have at least a couple of human characters as well, a couple of actors. Yet, I don't know, I couldn't care less for that one. I really don't feel like I need to watch it. Whereas, for example, for Elf, I was curious, why do people love it? And that's why I watched it for the first time, I think, either last year or the year before, and I was disappointed. But this one, I really. I'm sure that if you love it, you will keep loving it, and you have your reason to love it. I don't know. Last year, I mentioned Bridget Jones's Diary, and that's something I would recommend, but only the first movie. And still, watching it now, it's a bit painful. But what I really cannot stand are the sequels. So the other day, I was just watching the second one, simply because I watched the first one last year. I didn't want to re-watch the same thing. And since I couldn't remember anything about the plot, I thought, okay, let's just give it a go. And it was so embarrassing, so pathetic. This is why I wanted to watch it, because I saw that there's another one that just came out. It was dropped on Netflix, but no, there's no chance I'm going to watch that one, because it only got worse with the sequels. And I told you, I hate Hugh Grant. So, now let me tell you about a few movies that I think are underrated, or maybe that people hate, and that I would defend in some ways. And it's probably the exact same argument that someone might have with me talking about Home Alone, Elf, and so on. I totally understand it. I believe that Christmas movies are way more personal than other kinds of movies, like what really resonates with you. So I totally get it. But for example, I love Hook. Someone just reminded me of Hook as a Christmas movie on Threads, saying that it's an underrated Christmas movie because nobody ever thinks about it as a Christmas movie. But that's true, it takes place around Christmas. But I know that there are some controversies around the movie itself. The production was a whole chaotic thing. But since I watched it as a kid and I kept watching it every single year, I have tactile memories attached to this movie specifically. And those memories are still immaculate. For example, the dinner with the kids. I can feel those gestures. I can feel the texture of the food. I distinctly remember the clocks and the sounds they made, and the costume of Hook himself, specifically his wig. I have to be honest, Peter Pan is one of my least favorite stories. I don't like it at all. And of all the Peter Pan adaptations, retellings, and so on, this is the only one I enjoy. Maybe it's because of Robin Williams, possible, but the first half of the movie is an absolute treasure to me. The rest of the movie, yeah, okay, fine. I don't love every single part of it, but I do enjoy rewatching it when I can. What's your take on Hook? Here's a movie that I don't think I've ever recommended, because in the plot there are some aspects that I hate, which are present in Home Alone, Elf, and the others, but there's Angela Lansbury, and that makes the whole difference for me. This is called Mrs. Santa Claus. It's from 1996, and I haven't been able to find it anywhere else other than YouTube. There are some scenes I really struggle to watch, for example, the ones around kids working, and I'm not saying anything else in case you want to watch it, but it reminded me of any Dickens story and the aspects I don't enjoy about Dickens. But it's true that Angela Lansbury makes everything magical. What can I tell you? It's also a musical, and that's the other thing I don't like. But I mean, if you don't have anything else on your watch list, you are desperate, you're looking for something different, check it out. And finally, yesterday I found a movie that I remember watching, but I completely forgot about it. In English, I think it's called Noel. In Italian, it has a completely different title, just as usual. Here we have Susan Sarandon, Robin Williams again, Penelope Cruz, and others. And it's something quite similar to Love Actually. The format is similar because you follow several characters who are interconnected in some ways, although there are fewer plot lines compared to Love Actually, which makes it a little bit easier to follow each story and care about each and every one of them. It also takes place in New York, whereas Love Actually takes place in London mainly. So it doesn't have the same dry humor, like the British type of humor. And it was made the following year, or at least it was released the following year. So I don't know if they copied some parts from Love Actually and this was the American remake or American take on the same story, because there's one plotline that it's almost identical to Love Actually, although it was enjoyable, deep at times, not a straight up comedy, let's say. But if you've never watched it and you are tired of rewatching Love Actually every single year, maybe give it a go. Plus, Love Actually is not a perfect movie, and there are so many parts of it I would cut if I could, and I would just save some plot lines, for example, or some characters, because some of them are really annoying. But I understand why so many people love that movie. I forgot to tell you about one that maybe I recommend, but it depends, and it's Gremlins. I watched it for the first time as an adult, or in full, last year, and I was surprised that it's even considered a Christmas movie. I mean, yes, it takes place around Christmas, fine, but it's a horror movie, and I was surprised that it's usually for children. I mean, that's the point. We watched it as kids, and luckily I couldn't remember any of the scary parts for some reason. But I told you about Gremlins last year in one of my videos last year. I understand that if you want something scary but not too scary, you want to watch Gremlins, just like, I don't know, Krampus and other movies we've talked about them that are not the stereotypical kind of Christmas movie. Because it's true that it's exhausting, the fact that 80% of Christmas movies are rom-coms. And I agree, it's too much, you know? So that's why I'm not sure if I can recommend it or not. It really depends on what you're looking for, or if you love horror. If you love horror, I mean, it's for you. It's perfect. This was a bit of a rambly video, but I had thought about making this a while back, and then I was not so sure it would be a good idea, because then people would hate me and I don't want anybody to be unhappy, you know? We all have different tastes in terms of cinema. I'm not saying that these are bad movies. I'm just saying that these are not for me, or these are not Christmas movies for me. And the ones that I would actually recommend instead, so Hook, Mrs. Santa Claus, or even Noel, let me know if you've ever seen them and what you think about them, because I would understand if you were to say, okay, Hook is not for me or not a Christmas movie. And now that you watched this, check out the video on the screen. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss my upcoming videos. Stay tuned for early January, in which I will release my 2025 wrap-up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.